You know what I think it is? Because I'm thinking like MLK wasn't lined up.
True. Yeah.
And you have, you know.
That's a really funny sentence, by the way. MLK was not lined up, and they still listened to. They still
followed him.
Yeah.
You don't need, bro.
Malcolm X was not lined up. James Baldwin definitely not lined up.
You ever seen James Baldwin's hairline?
Yes, I see that.
Holy shit, how good of a writer do you gotta be? People still read your shit, and he's looking like a black Dracula to me.
Yeah. His shit is almost as bad as the Black Power Ranger. That might be one of the worst haircuts of all time.
Hi, welcome to the Help Me Be Black podcast, where I bring on comedians to help me be black. Today, my guest is a fantastic stand-up writer. He's written for Dave and Always Sunny. People love these shows. Some of our greatest white shows, honestly.
Honestly, yes.
Everybody, please welcome Biniam. Now I'm freaking out that I'm not going to get it right.
I believe in you.
Binuzeh.
Almost.
Fuck. Tell me.
Bizuneh.
Bizuneh. Fuck. Bizuneh.
Listen, this gets right into our episode.
Okay,
I like
good.
it.
That's really good. I freaked out because I had it before, and then knowing I had to like say it into the mic and camera, I was like, oh no,
dude,
I'm gonna get it wrong, and then that made me go, you gotta trust yourself.
I'm used to this from like every time I give a host my name before a show. They study it like it's a test. They're like, okay, let me write it phonetically. Okay, fucking Bizuneh. And then
Bizuneh's not even hard.
I would say like, but it's like, I think there's something about the way it's spelled. Maybe it doesn't look phonetically. It looks like Bizuneh or something.
There's just an E where I don't expect there to be an E.
Yes.
And it's fucked up because it's like we should, with our language of English, we should be able to comprehend other forms of like where letters go because like who knows where we do it.
Yeah.
But it's weird that just some version of like, oh, I don't usually expect an H to be at the end of a name, then you're just like, your brain's like, I can't do it. I can't even do it.
It's like when we look at words that make no sense, like the word like a knight who whatever, and you're like, K, why is that? We've just like learned because we've seen that word. We're like, okay. But this is like a new weird spelling.
Right.
You're like, I've never read this in a book before.
Yeah. And it's the syllables maybe too, where it's like 3 vowels. I don't do that.
I think we've lost everyone now. I think
No, what we do on the podcast, we immediately start talking about grammar. That's
we get into phonetics.
That's the black shit. Grammar, Hey, man. Semicolons. It's
present participle, past participle. Yeah. We're getting down into it.
Also, this is what happens if you're going to listen to a podcast where it's 2 writers. Like, we're going to talk about grammar a little bit. Sorry, that's what you signed up for.
Standard. What are we?
Yeah, Chicago, man.
Okay, Chicago. I get
I'm not from there, but that's the standard of the grammar, man.
I respect that.
So we were just talking about right before we started about hair, how you just tell me more about like the standards you're setting for you.
Okay, so before I even get into hair,
go ahead.
On that last name that we just talked about, Bizuneh, it's an African last name. Okay.
Yeah.
And this show, and I don't know which one. Is there one I'm supposed to be looking at? Or
you can go whichever. This one's probably yours.
Okay.
Do whatever you want.
This is when I need to make a point. I'll hit you.
Yeah, there you go.
But most of the time I'll just be looking at you. So this show it's called Teach Me to Be Black. Because
help me be black, but whatever. You got your name wrong. You got my podcast name wrong. Don't even
okay,
worry about
we're even now.
It's even.
Okay, help me be black, and that's because you were adopted by a white family.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but here's the thing: is when you asked me to do this, I'm like, okay, Bizuneh, because I have an African family. My parents are Ethiopian. Having African parents is a lot like having white parents in terms of not knowing shit about black culture. Okay. So I'm kind of in the same boat as you in some ways, but I will say I taught myself how to be black. So I had to help myself. And now I want to help you by teaching you to fish. Okay.
You're going to teach me how to teach myself.
Exactly.
Essentially.
I'm going to give you a checklist of things to do because I myself, I don't want to sit here and be like, I'm the expert on this, but I can give you the methods. Okay. And I would say the first thing, and this relates to what we were talking about, hair.
Okay, good.
Date a black woman.
Okay, check.
You're dating a black woman right now.
Yeah, we've been in a relationship for quite some time now.
So, okay.
Sorry, listeners, surprised? I don't know if you get this. You probably do. You know what I'm going?
Yes.
There is for NLU, niggas like us.
Yeah.
There is an assumption.
Niggas like us. Niggas like us.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That something about this general aura that we produce.
I think it's that
like
Chicago standard diction, you know?
Yeah,
It's
we did
FLA.
start out talking about grammar. We started out talking about grammar, and then we're like, why do people think we date white women?
It's gotta be our. We gotta switch to a different grammatical structure.
Sure.
No, but yeah, it's definitely it's like. Well, I think it has a lot to do with. Okay, so me growing up, the way I grew up is around. I'm in Indiana.
Yeah,
it's around white people, and I have African parents who aren't giving me like this is what black experience is, whatever. So you're having to like take it from around you, and then you probably like for me, I have a joke in my act where I talk about like I think I sound like this because my parents had an accent and I was like, I don't want to sound like you foreigners. So instead I learned to talk by watching children's television. So that's why I sound like Arthur the Aardvark, you know? Yeah. And it literally is like, I think there's some truth to that.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I don't sound like my parents or where I grew up because I knew I was like on the outside and I didn't want to sound like them.
Yeah.
And now I feel like how I talk is like a weird mix of like shit I picked up in Chicago at like 20 and then also some like stand-up comedians that I grew up listening to where I'm like, I don't know why I speak the way I do. Like I code switch a little bit automatically, but I'm also where is this coming from? I actually don't know. It's because I didn't really identify with where I grew up, so I didn't build an accent out of that. You know, you can be intentional about it.
You know, I think what people tell me is that I have a lack of an accent.
Oh.
So it's almost like a bit, you're just I'm
like, if we're going synesthesia with it and I'm listening to your voice, what I'm picturing is beige walls.
Yes.
Like Airbnb walls.
And which I think
you got an Airbnb wall voice.
where it's like, hey, you know, we could put something on, but right now we're at base level.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I have the standard model voice. No air conditioning, no power windows.
Drive that off the lot.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like that comes from, one, not wanting to sound like my parents, not also like learning from like media. I feel like I learned to talk from watching like fucking, you know what sounds like this? It's like watching Pokemon and then you talk like people sounding like the American version of Japanese people. You know what I mean? Like Yu-Gi-Oh!
You're doing black, taking American, taking Japanese, and then kind of, you sound like you're about to attack my life points directly.
Yeah, I'm talking like Brock or some shit. Like that's the blackest guy I've seen on TV.
They're all the same color.
Yeah.
You rock colored, I will say.
I think, was Brock half black or was he Filipino? He was definitely like,
I mean, I don't want to say why I think this.
Yeah.
I think he had some Asian.
Okay.
I'm not going to say why. I'm not going to say why. This.
But his skin tone,
dark.
Maybe Thai.
He might be Thai. He might be Filipino.
But his
I
hair
can see that.
Looked spiky.
It was spiky. Yeah, I don't know, because I could also see an argument for Brock being Ethiopian, to be honest.
Why would you say that?
You know, it's just the shade, and he's sort of a natural leader in the way I feel like many Ethiopians are. Yes.
Wow. I haven't heard that stereotype about us, but I'll take it. I know about Haile Selassie, you know, the king guy.
Yeah.
But he's like one dude. I would say like the thing that gets said most about Ethiopian culture, especially if you go back there, is like so polite, so welcoming.
Yeah.
Like, please sit. No, you must eat. Everyone's gonna offer you to eat a bunch of times, and you say no, even though you want to eat. You gotta say no 3 times. Like all this type of shit.
But that's like, the thing about Ethiopians is like that. I'm gonna put on Brock for some reason.
Yeah.
Very naturally charismatic people. I feel like every Ethiopian I've met, I'm like, this is my favorite person, and then I find out they're Ethiopian. I mean, maybe I'm just like a little Ethiopian. I literally don't know.
Was there? You could be.
I could be.
You could.
I mean, you know.
Have you ever done the 23?
No, I'm scared of that. Because that involves I know it's not like jerking off into a cup, but in my brain it is. And
actually, I don't know. I would have believed that. I've never.
And then like sending it to a company that's like selling my data. So I think if I do a 23andMe in like 20 years, there's gonna be like a Gemini Man situation.
Oh, I mean,
you see
who knows?
Gemini Man?
Yeah.
That started.
Which,
he was doing 23andMe.
Honestly, I don't know how that movie was shot in some crazy resolution where it was like the selling point was Will Smith actually looks young in this.
Right.
And that movie just went away.
Yeah.
It was like one of those movies where it's like, this is a graphics display of what we can do.
Look what I can do.
Yeah.
Maybe we could get something for VFX with this.
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, cool. But like, what's it really about? He's like, I don't know.
I kind of don't remember. Is it like he got he's a secret agent who was really good at his job, so they took some of his DNA.
And then they got his younger self, and then it's kind of like Looper, where it's like he got to kill himself and got to, you know.
Well, how funny would it be if it was just about like, don't marry Jada or whatever, you know, like he comes back
and he tries to, no, stop. No, you're gonna get banned from the Oscars.
You're gonna slap Chris.
What? Oh, yo, that would be a dope Gemini Man.
Yes.
Is if okay, we're at the Oscars, right? Interior Oscars. Will Smith stands up, gets on stage, and then suddenly young Will Smith comes out.
Him.
He slaps Will before he can slap Chris. The new Gemini Man, and then they're tussling at the Oscars.
Everyone would think that's a sketch, and maybe you could have sold that off because it's like, oh, they got a Will Smith lookalike to fight Will Smith.
Yeah,
it didn't really go over that well, but kind of interesting, I guess.
Interesting, yeah.
His acting, amazing.
Amazing
he
acting.
Seemed actually very angry.
He still won.
Yeah.
He'll still win. All right, so dating black women.
Okay. The reason I say that is because if you're someone who didn't grow up in black culture, if you date a black woman, like there were things that, and this comes back to the hair, there were things about hair care that I did not know at all that I learned from the first black woman I dated. Where, first of all, get a silk pillowcase.
Yeah.
Do you do this?
Yes.
Okay. And then also have a bonnet. I wasn't even doing bonnets.
I literally wasn't either until I want to say like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. And I see pictures of me and the difference is clear.
It's palpable.
You're like,
right?
Oh, but that is not like a normalized thing. But I am interested in this because,
and I think we got to explain this for some viewers if you don't know. If you've ever seen somebody wearing like a satin black shiny bonnet, mostly you're gonna see, you know, black women or, you know, maybe I don't know if other races do it, but definitely.
I feel like I feel like Asians and Japanese people are doing it in like a we want to do black stuff kind of way.
Do black stuff.
Like because you see it, or like every time you see one of these, like the classic wigger, you know, it's gonna have a do-rag.
This do-rag, yeah. So like a bonnet is just almost like a version of a do-rag that is for not like making you get waves, but for keeping the moisture in.
Keep the moisture,
yeah. And I didn't know to do that. My mom. And I don't know if this is an Ethiopian thing or African thing. Maybe it's a masculinity thing where like in Ethiopian culture, men are not, you don't think about your hair. Mostly because most of them go bald pretty quick. Maybe that's it.
I was going to ask because like it's still African textured hair, right? So
well, it depends. There's such a diversity of hair texture. There's some Ethiopian dudes that have like mixed people hair, and those dudes take care of their hair. They got the fucking silky locks until they start losing it. Some of them are blessed to keep it for a long time, but there is like the big stereotype of Ethiopian men having the but some of them have that, and then some have like just black hair texture like mine. Mine's more just like, you know, whatever 3C. I don't even
3C, 4C.
See, those are things.
But you don't know what 4C is unless you really like.
I learned that from a black woman.
Yeah.
And she, you know, like, oh, this is your hair texture. You have low porosity hair. That means you got to don't do your wash days that often. There's the lock system. All these things.
Right.
You got to put oil in your hair. You got to not wash it. using literally fucking.
You were doing
I was using a 3-in-1 like shampoo, conditioner, soap.
That's
like,
the craziest thing because it's like 3-in-1 is not for us.
Yeah,
and you would think like, oh yeah, it's 3-in-1. It's for everybody. It's not. If you're black and you're using the 3-in-1, and this is the why sort of white supremacy and like Eurocentric whatever is the standard being like is so pernicious because if you have not had like a cultural education in what you should be doing, it's like, oh yeah, it's 3-in-1, it's the shampoo, it's the main, it's normal. It's like, well, that's gonna fuck up a lot of people's hair. A lot of people's hair, probably even most of the population of the world.
It's a lot like, you know, the common example people bring up is the Band-Aid, right?
Oh, yes.
I never knew the Band-Aid was supposed to blend into skin.
I did not
until
know that.
I was like 20 something and they were like, oh, that's why it's that color. And I was like, oh, I thought that was just the Band-Aid color.
I thought it was just Band-Aid color.
Because obviously it's not supposed to blend into my skin.
Right.
You know?
I thought it was just easiest to make it in that color.
Yes.
It's like a nothing color.
And that's what, like, now, I mean, maybe because, you know, I don't know, there's been representation or whatever, but like now you go to a CVS, you go to a Walgreens, they have like black hair care products in a little aisle.
Yeah.
You know?
In the one corner.
Yeah.
You don't get the best options still.
No.
It's like, it's still like, if you want, maybe go to a Sally Beauty or somewhere better.
You got to go to some place that's owned by an Asian woman.
Yeah.
And there is where you can find all of the hair care products.
Yes. Then you can have your stuff. You got to talk to an Asian.
Even in Indianapolis, the place that had all of the black hair care stuff was, I want to say, owned by Korean people. And I don't know how that happened or when it happened or, you know, but that is a thing.
I feel like I'm going to rattle off something that I don't know if it's right.
Okay.
But there was, I think it is the, you know, how black businesses, it's harder for black people to have gotten into business,
get a loan, get all this stuff. Yeah.
But people who are from Korea and stuff also kind of got segmented into similar, you know, areas of like when it comes to redlining and stuff. It wasn't targeted at them, but it was like harder for them to be in white spaces, but easier to be in black spaces because those people were already disenfranchised and easier for them to get like business loans and whatever. So they brought over that money and were able to build businesses that thrive in our communities.
Yes.
That sounds right. Comedy podcast, I'm not an expert, but that is kind of like the Asian experience in America has been in a lot of ways like coterminous with the black experience, where it's like we got pushed to the side, Asians got pushed to the side as well, but kind of like closer. And they were like, well, you know, I can run a jewelry store. And that's where all of the, you know, that kind of shit comes from.
No,
it's like it's servicing the community around.
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's out of scarcity. Same thing.
Yeah.
I'll say too, like this thing of, you know, I don't know if this is where I don't know. Does the idea of black men taking care of their hair have to do, is it a newerly widespread thing? Or like when I think back to movies I saw like Coming to America, where this dude's doing Soul Glow and he's putting the grease in his hair. People were doing this for a long time. It feels like it is a thing that is in black culture that is not thought of to be like feminine. You know how there's some people's like skincare is like newer for men, right?
Yeah.
But it feels like hair care has been a thing in black American culture for a long time for men.
You know what I think it is? Because I'm thinking like MLK wasn't lined up.
True. Yeah.
And you have, you know,
that's a really funny sentence, by the way. MLK was not lined up, and they still listened to. They
still followed him.
Yeah.
You don't need, bro.
Malcolm X was not lined up. James Baldwin definitely not lined up.
You ever seen James Baldwin's hairline?
Yes, I see that.
Holy shit! How good of a writer do you gotta be? People still read your shit, and he's looking like a black Dracula. To be honest.
Yeah. His shit is almost as bad as the Black Power Ranger. That might be one of the worst haircuts of all time. And it's like they're similar level of hairline.
So I do feel like there was a standard. If I'm going back that far.
When did it start? Yeah.
When did that standard?
But then you think of the afros, and they were, you know, putting oil in there. They were juices and who knows what the fuck.
But honestly, that's like 10 years after that.
Okay.
So I do think that it might have been. Was it the civil rights struggle that led to maybe an identity?
But I will say,
go ahead.
Think back to Malcolm X in his zoot suit, fucking grease in the hair. That was a thing from the 40s and 30s. You think of Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah.
And then that went away for whatever reason. But there was a time when, Dream Girls type where they would perm their hair and shit. Which I'm not saying is good hair care, but they were doing something that they thought made themselves look better,
Yes, but so do we think... Because now I'm trying to expand it sort of globally.
Yeah.
Does it feel like this is... Obviously, a lot of stuff just comes from American Black culture. I think this might be one of those fundamentally American things.
I will say I have seen some dope African hairstyles that look super futuristic. Because when you look at certain places where they're doing stuff with, even in Ethiopia, crazy cornrows. I've seen... There's this guy named King Tedros who's from late 1800s, early 1900s. I think that's the time frame. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Who had a thing where the first half of his head is cornrows and then the end of it is coming out, and it's a very modern looking hairstyle.
Whoa.
So they would do hairstyles, but the thing of lining it up straight feels like a newer thing. That feels like a thing from the 80s, maybe.
Right. It feels like it came out of, but then it's also when we talk about masculinity and obviously how gender is a spectrum and how masculinity is all relative and stuff. Where it's you could make the argument that maybe not as much now, but at least at the peak of getting your hair lined up.
Yeah.
That is the most masculine positioning that you could have.
Totally.
Whereas if you are in a different place as a Black man, it's not you need to have, there's also then being even thinking about that is very feminine. So it is interesting what even this concept of hair has done to our concept of gender. You ever see a woman who's just bad as fuck and she's bald?
Yeah.
And you're it's almost like a flex to do that because she's my face is so good. I don't even got to worry about this shit up here. That's not even something I'm doing. And it's it's one of those things that kind of speaks to gender in this interesting way because you're you don't need to have long hair to be considered a beautiful feminine woman is what I'm saying.
So I'm curious to ask your journey with this. I'm going to tell you mine real quick. So for whatever reason, my family didn't give a fuck about men's hair. So the way that I had haircuts as a kid was my hair would just grow out completely. I was not picking. It would just get to a place where it was clumpy. Yeah. And then my dad, no guard, just
shit.
So then I would be buzzed bald, and then I would be Reggie Miller because I'm from Indiana, so they would just call me that, and that was my haircuts until I got to the age of caring what girls thought. Yeah. And I was I want to look good, and I'm 13 or whatever. I started going to this barbershop college where they would give you $7 haircuts. It's people learning, but they can still line you up. And that was the first time I had a fade and a lineup. I was whoa, this looks way better. Yeah. Because that was the time too in the mid 2000s where I'm looking at people like Nelly and I'm looking at fucking Kanye and whatever, and all those people are lined up, and I'm that's how you look cool. What was your white parents' idea of what you should do with your hair?
So it changed over time because they had some awareness of the hair being a different project.
Okay.
But the standards for hair care was still very much shampoo, conditioner, whatever. And there was, however, one black barber shop in Salt Lake that I would go to that I've been going to since I was a child. Shout out to Randy and Flex Cuts in Salt Lake City. If you gotta get your hair cut up in Salt Lake, go to Randy. Go to Flex
This is
Cuts.
What age do you start going to this?
Oh, young. They
7, 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
They start doing house calls and stuff.
So you always had a good haircut, basically.
No.
Oh.
No. I had a place where I could go to get my hair cut. That was good. But it wasn't. It was a rare thing. I also always felt pretty just uncomfortable in the space because the vibe was so different.
Yeah.
You know,
I get that.
I was going to I was this is not how people around me are acting at all.
I mean, you know that Okay, two things about Donald Glover. Like, there's that song where he goes, culture shock in barbershops because I ain't hood enough.
Yeah.
We all look the same to the cops.
Oh,
ain't that
man.
good enough?
I hate
Which
that
is
I know
like,
that.
it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, I love that he said that. And then at the same time, you also are like, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
but it is a thing that I heard that when I was, 20, whatever, when that came out. And I was like, I've never heard anyone else relate to this experience.
Yes. I mean, and this is, now that Donald, I think this is not the first time he's coming up, but I think this is a very important point to make when it comes to sort of the Donald Glover discourse of now versus
well, you know
whatever.
how we said we are like, when we are these, what did you call us? The type that we are?
and now niggas like us.
Niggas like us. You also could call them DL niggas, which is not down low. Donald no DG low.
yeah. No, you and me, DL niggas.
Yeah. you know,
Yeah, the
DL Hughley niggas.
What you mean? Yeah, we love DL. We love those hats.
DG. Donald Glover almost became a type.
Yes.
And then people be like, oh, you're like one of them types.
Yes.
Because he was the first famous black dude.
He was the first famous
who was,
of that type.
Yeah, yeah.
And he became an archetype, which it was, I think, helpful for our culture in a lot of ways. And then, like, there was like this backlash against, the way he articulated certain things being corny for the, and then I go but y'all, it was a different time.
And
there was, you could be Nelly, or you could be fully like on the other side and be like Carlton Banks.
And
you know what I mean?
I love that, it was brave of him to do it because he knew the kind of backlash he would get and whatever. And he was voicing a thing that a lot of people felt, because more so than even us, like, I'm a dude raised by African parents. You're, raised by,
Honkies,
you're adopted. More than just our specific types, there are so many types of black people who didn't feel represented by, this is the type that Hollywood or the music industry is specifically being like, and so for one guy to be like, I didn't fit into that was like so empowering.
Very big deal. But that wasn't, the thing is, like, nobody was articulating that before.
Yeah.
In media broadly or in culture.
Yeah.
So that was very important. I think that is what often gets lost in these, because you'll see these conversations where people will look back at certain lyrics and go like, Asian girls everywhere.
Well,
but
that's the thing is, like, I never look back at those ones. I'm like, sure. But the ones I never look back at and think I'm like, I still love this. Is the ones where he's talking about him not necessarily fitting the vibe. Like, he has this one where he's like, the only white rapper who's allowed to say the N-word. And I'm like, that's just funny.
Yeah,
no,
it is. It's, look, you couldn't be talking to a bigger Donald Glover fan, obviously, based on how I grew. Like, but don't laugh. Like, everybody gets it. If you were to point
we got DL to go over here laughing.
It's only
Hughley's.
DL niggas.
Yeah.
That should be what I call the fans of this podcast. Hey, what's
what
up,
DL niggas?
If you listen to the Help Me Be Black podcast, you are DL. But what was gonna be my point? Yeah, I'm a big whatever.
But you were
part of. Oh, go ahead.
The barbershop thing, right?
Oh yeah. So I didn't really get to. I didn't remember getting haircuts that often. Like, I would get them and then they look good, but then I would feel so. Sometimes I would feel so lined up as a kid that I'd be like, I don't know, because then that felt wrong. Because I'm like, this is not like me, because I've never cared about that. And then also the standard of, growing up in a very white place, it's not like anybody else was ever getting lined up.
Yeah.
So even if I did get lined up, people would be like, what are you doing? What is that?
I'm so glad we're talking about this because, okay, here's to bring it back to Donald.
Yeah.
I think that there was this era of when he was doing Because of the Internet, and he was kind of wearing like ratty sweaters, and he's wearing short shorts, and he wasn't getting lined up. And that was him going, hey, you know how white people can wear dirty shoes and whatever, and you guys don't assume they're homeless? I'm gonna do that.